Okay, so let's start. Yeah, exactly. So, Kadir, so let's begin then. And just a quick intro. I won't take much of your time because you're not here for me, obviously, and you're for the person who is, if I'm not wrong, technical support intern at none other than Microsoft. And I think many of here at the aspirants over here, their dream goal or dream company is Microsoft. And I think someone who can guide you way better and in a very like in a student way, because many just touch the upper topics and move. But I think I have known Haimantika Deep. I have basically observed her because we have several events and many faces changed, but one face that was common in every event was Haimantika Ji. Maybe in terms of a speaker, maybe in terms of a volunteer. So she was always there, and I think she will be the best to guide on you, and because many of you are preparing for your placements, many of you are in your first year, second year. So the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Pratim. I would say that I'm overwhelmed with such a nice introduction, and it's quite a nice moment for me as well because over the last year, I would say that I've been speaking in so many events, but I never really got an opportunity to interact with my own college juniors. So I would thank you for the same that I'm finally getting a chance to introduce myself to my juniors as well as have a talk with them. So before I start, I would say that as you can see, the only thing you'll see on screen today is my face, and I haven't. Um, okay, we have a message like Hindi mein can we have it? I'm sorry, but I'm a Bengali and my Hindi is very bad, and it's more like a joke. So in case you don't understand, I'll try to put if you want like I would say translation in something. I'll try and say that again if you are not understanding something on that. And I would say that, okay, what I was continuing with the part that there is no slides for this particular talk, so it's more like a conversation. If you want to know something, please feel free to unmute yourself or drop your questions in the chat because these are certain things. It's not only about Microsoft. Now, those who are in your second year or even in the first year, and especially those who are in the third year, this is your even SEM and you're going to the fourth year, so your placement will be starting, and those in the first and your second year, I would say that this is the perfect time for you to begin. In our time, all that we knew were we are supposed to do some training, we are supposed to practice aptitude, we are supposed to do, the sprint those patterns, and then we'll get a job. To us, job meant that the sprinting patterns and get practicing aptitude, and you get a very meager salary amount, and that's the dream job that you should have. So um, firstly, I would burst the first myth, which is that you don't like need necessarily have a certificate or be trained in something to draw a skill. The best way to get a skill is you learn something, and please don't try and spend money on acquiring those skills because I haven't done any training or any skill that requires money to be spent. Everything is free on the internet. The only skill, honestly, the only skill that you need to get employed is the art of Googling. I tell this very often, and if you can Google well, if you know how to, Google, people even don't know how to Google well. Suppose you are stuck in some problem and there's some error coming in your code, you will find everything. You'll find related documents, documentation as to why that error occurs and everything in Google. So use the search engine. Everything that you need is up there, and it's also free of cost. So firstly, be sure that you are not spending any extra money on learning something new. That's something I would say. And also, please don't run behind certificates because nobody I have got opportunities from so many companies, but nobody asked if I am certified in something or if high certification matters. Yeah, certification, like there are so many Microsoft certifications in Azure, in let's say in DevOps, and there are a lot of certifications by these leading companies, and they also cost something, and they are very costly. They're almost 3,000 to 4,000 in Indian rupees. So I would say that if you're actually looking to get a certification in hand that you can show off to people, certifications matter, and those are difficult to crack because the question is not easy. Plus, those are expensive as well. So that is the only thing that matters. And as a student, you don't need that. So before I start with my journey, I would say that since you are in your peak moment, firstly, please be active in social media. And by that, I don't mean be active on Facebook and Instagram. Yes, be active on that as well, share memes, and because you need your fair share of time and entertainment as well. But what I mean to say is that please stay active on LinkedIn and Twitter. Like you must have heard everybody saying that LinkedIn is, the go-to place for everything, but LinkedIn can be, it can be a bit depressing at times when you see that people are giving job postings, hey, I'm placed at Adobe and Google software engineer at dash company. So that can be, it can be depressing at times. But these are the things that you need to face, and from such people, you need to see their journey. You need to see what are they skilled in and draw inspiration from that rather than being depressed on the same. And Twitter is a very, it is people very underrate it, but it is a very nice platform to interact with. And I don't know if anybody from here they follow me on Twitter, but those who do, you know that from the past 1 year I started using Twitter actively from April, and till April like 2021, which is in 1 year course, I have over 1,000 followers. And having followers is not something that we should aim for, but then people know me or follow me because of the content that I post. So first thing that I told is be active in social media, that is in LinkedIn and Twitter. And then you'll ask that, okay, people say that we need to be active in social media, but what are the things that I need to post? Firstly, since you are in a learning phase, get used to the term called public learning. So I used to do public learning, and funny how I did not know that this was termed as public learning. If you know people like Scott Hanselman, so these are these famous people, and they, they are this top, people to follow in Twitter or LinkedIn because they produce that kind of content. So in one of his talks, he mentioned about public learning. Now, what is public learning? So public learning is basically when you're learning a skill, be it suppose if you're learning React, or if you're learning, backend development, and you need to post and you are posting that, hey, this is my day one of React, and I just covered the basics. And day two and day three, you say that I continued brushing up my skills on same. Day three, you say just don't give day two. Day three is not similar to 100 days of coding or 30 days of coding. It's just that you're telling the people, telling your followers that, hey, this is the skill that I'm getting skilled upon. And make a habit to note down everything that you're learning in the form of blogs or YouTube videos as well. So YouTube videos is something that I would say that communication is also a very important key in, especially in online interviews, because interview is a type of pitching yourself. That is, you are pitching yourself. Like we pitch a business idea to the company. This is how you're pitching yourself to the company. They'll ask you why should you hire, why should they hire you, and that is when you should say that this is what I have, this is what I have done, these are my projects. So now I know these things, and that is why you should hire. So when you're pitching yourself, there are certain things that you need to have to back upon. So these are the blogs that will come to your help, and even your YouTube videos. Even if your YouTube videos is being viewed by 30 to 35 people, or even less than that, let's say 10 people, please don't be demotivated, just keep uploading that. I used to do that, and then I thought like nobody is seeing, let me just stop. But even today I received mails and LinkedIn connection requests asking me for help, hey, can you help me on that thing? So that initially you start by affecting only one person, and slowly when you continue doing the same for 1 year consistently, people start knowing you and follow you. And all those who are like used to attending talks, you will hear people saying that have a social brand. So social brand, or a personal brand of yourself, that is when people know you by who you are and not by your college. Like if you have a good college to show up, the hey, I'm from IIT Delhi or IIT Bombay, then people know that this girl or this boy, he or she is from IIT, or he or she is working in this and this company. But even before that, if you want people to know you, that's how you can do that, is give content. And the best platforms for that is dev.to. I'll just write it here because they have a very big technical community. And just a second, dev.to, I'm writing it here. So in dev.to, whatever blog you're writing, even if a simple blog and you're not even promoting it much, you'll see that at least 100 to 150 people are seeing that, and then those blogs, they are being retweeted by the deaf community's official handle. So these are certain things that will definitely help you in the long run. And as far as I know, many people from here, you have participated in Hacktoberfest, and from there, the deaf community. So if you are a consistent writer there, the chances that you will get, and if you're a good writer, if your skills are really nice, you might even get interning opportunities from there, and your connect increases. So these are some of the things that you should follow. And next, I will say that what I did in a year and what changed my life, that landed me a job here. Before that, if anybody wants to ask anything, please unmute yourself or drop a text here. I'll wait for 5 to 10 minutes for your questions. If not, I'll move forward. Also, please let me know if I'm too fast or should I give longer pauses before I tell something, because there are a lot of information to give and I'm really excited to tell you people to burst all the myths that you have. So anything that you want to say, you can unmute yourself or drop a text.
Dee, hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi,
Are
Shrishti.
you making YouTube videos like on whatever knowledge like I have uploading that go like in what aspect you meant, like how is it like apart from the
Yeah.
views and thing, like how is
Right.
it going to benefit me?
Yeah, so this is what I was telling about public learning. So if you have a Twitter or LinkedIn profile, and then suppose what are you learning right now? Like, are you learning basic C or C++ or Java or whatever you're learning right now? What was it? What is it?
Basic C plus plus like back in my 12th,
Okay.
so I'm focusing on that.
So you're in first year now or in your second year?
First year.
First year. All right, this is just the start for you. So now you have something in mind that if you're liking C++, you'll say that, hey, I just want to continue with C++. And I tell you that it is a very nice language to start and skill upon, because even those who are doing Python, that most of the things there is what the basic is from C++. So it's a really great language to start on, and there are content. But if you as a beginner, you're starting your own channel and your own blog on it, a lot of views will come, and then you might ask that what is the content that you'll start with. Let's say that it's an object oriented programming language, so you just start with simple thing, that is, what is object and classes in C++, how do you define them. So you start with the basic thing, you just start recording your screen, and or if you're showing in the form of a code editor, just start recording a screen or record yourself and upload that in YouTube. In that way, or whatever you're learning, let's say you're learning about pointers, so you learn about that, and the very next day or on the very same day you speak about pointers in C++. And that's how you have content, everything that you're learning, put that in a blog or in a video, and also post about that in Twitter or LinkedIn, that hey, I just started with C++ and these are the things that I did. And when you're in the phase where you are solving problems, especially lead code, all those who know about, and there are so many platforms where you can practice coding in. So you can also say that, hey, I'm just a beginner, and I wanted to brush my concepts on DSL, let's say, and these are the 2 to 3 beginner level problems that I have solved in lead code. And then in case you want any help, you can also write the same in Twitter or in your tweet, that I'm doing this and this thing, and I need some resources. Can tech Twitter help me doing achieving the same? So this is how, when you start learning, there is no end to content. Right now, in the phase that you are, it might feel very overwhelming, because I just wasted my first year. I don't used to go to college. I used to sit back and think that why did I take engineering? So it's really good that you're starting to think about it in your first year. So definitely, whatever you know, or if you're planning to start learning about something, just give that in the form of video or blog, and push that in your Twitter handle and even in your LinkedIn handle. So that will definitely help. Use hashtags. That's how you get, that's how your posts become trending. Okay, Pooja, you asked, how did you become so good in communication? Firstly, I would say thank you. And secondly, that I love to talk. And this has something to do with my school as well. I started public speaking from when I was as young as in class 1. and we had this very huge auditorium that is even bigger, at least double the times of what we have in our college. And since then, I was very used to talking on stage. And even before that, I like my feet used to tremble. I used to shiver very badly before speaking. So one good way is that you practice on your own. Like whenever I'm back home, even now that I'm 22-year old, I sit back home and then I talk to myself. That I imagine that I'm in a TED talk and I'm talking in some topic and I just practice that way. Even talking in front of a mirror or recording yourself, that really helps, because when you're recording yourself you get to hear the pronunciations. Often as a Bengali, I would say, we tend to bring in a Bengali accent, and in the long run that sounds a bit weird, but initially, now as we start, that Bengali accent stays. Even if I'm speaking for so many years, I still have the Bengali accent in me and it still did not go. So that is what I would say, that it is just practice. And even and since DSC is organizing such events, I would also tell them that if they're organizing an event where I would say first year or second year or anybody is free to share their knowledge on whatever they have, that is a good way to practice, because you're getting a platform to practice as well. And especially when everything is online, nobody is good there to laugh at your face because everybody's camera is off, so you don't really need to worry about that as well. Presenting on stage is quite more difficult. So I would say that start talking to yourself with relevant topics. For example, you can talk about politics, which is now a very heated topic, or you can also talk about the COVID-19 and see how you're preparing yourself and talk in front of the mirror, record yourself. And Shanta asks, what should be the right approach for asking referral? Yeah, I would say that when you are introducing yourself to somebody, especially in LinkedIn, in in 1 year I have made a lot of connections. Especially in Microsoft, I know people who are principal program managers, who are developer advocates, and not only from India but also from the West. And they are like in the apex powers. But I couldn't really ask for referrals because I'm shy that way. But I think asking for referrals is something that we all need to practice. And when you're asking for referral, say it in the way that you have something to offer. Let's say when you're asking for a referral to me, you say that, hi Haimantika, I am Shanta and I am skilled in, let's say, Python, and I build Android apps, and there is a job description, job ID in your company with, let's say, ID ABCD, and this is where I am looking to get into. So can you please help me with a referral? Or you can say that, can we schedule a call so that you can understand my skills better? So this is how you start your communication. And please avoid just texting hi. I see a lot of people even from my college just texting me hi on LinkedIn. So nobody has that much time to reply to small talks. If you and people generally text on LinkedIn to ask something. Let's say you want to ask something, you want to know about my journey, so you just tell that, hi, I just saw that you got placed here, so can you please tell me about my journey. Be direct. And especially when you're sending a request, send with a personalized invite that, let's say, hi, I if you're sending me a request after this call, send me in the way that, hi, I just attended your session on DSC-SIT, and I'm from SIT, and I would like to know this, or just the introduction about yourself. So the best way to ask for referral is show what you have to offer, and then you tell, this is the job ID. Be precise. That this is a job ID I want to offer. These are the skills that I have. This is my resume. Can you help me with it? Or can we set up a call so that you can understand my skills better? And I think that not everyone will reply to your like text messages, but at least if you're sending out to 10, 1 or 2 out of 10 will reply. And that way it can be a bit demotivating, because not everybody is as good as the other person, or not everybody is very responsive. But try and send to as many people as you can. I see there are no questions. Anything? Should I wait for 2 to 3 minutes more, or should I go forward? For that, let me just drink some water.
Anyone with a question can unmute or just drop in your comments, or it so we'll continue.
If you want me to continue, you can also drop that.
Yeah, exactly.
LinkedIn ID. Just a second. Okay, so I have seen that Srishti has asked me to continue. So let me just continue. And now this might be a bit long and boring. So in case you want to ask something, just stop me. I won't mind and ask anything that you want to ask. So I would say that I am not here to demotivate you or tell you anything about something that might bring me to a bad position, because I have just 6 months left, but you guys have at least 1 to 2 years left. So when I was in my first year and second year, I did not know anything, literally nothing. And when I was in my 12th, I had bio as my subject. And before that, since I was in ICC school, I knew bits and pieces of coding. Like I knew, I would say the very, introductory level of coding. And that was the only thing that I had knowledge about when I joined college. Then when you people joined the community thing, the developer community thing, it was already, it was already blooming. So I would say that you guys, you are quite lucky in that case. But when we just joined, all that we see used to that there used to be some sessions on topics like antenna or radio, because I was from EC department, and no offense to that. So for people who wants to go in the core department, they might find it interesting. But for trending topics like, let's say, blockchain, or let's say cloud computing, these are some trending topics about which students should know, because now the criteria of freshers, it has changed. They expect freshers to know something more than just fresher level, and all that we used to have was just maybe introduction to computing, and that used to go basically over our head. We had no idea, we had no resources to fall back upon. So my first year, it went into a total waste. And also I did not really want to do engineering, so that way I did not focus on something. And now on the call there is my senior as well. He's from Durgapur, and he's working in Capgemini, that is Arnab Datta. And so on second year we used to know each other because we are from the same place. And I used to ask him that, hey, what are the things that I should really study, to have that job ready skills. And then he used to say that AI and data science, these are something that are trending, so you should follow that. And also used to say that some of the skills that we should skill upon, and he used to send resources. So that was the first help that I started getting. Then what happens is, you cannot really ask a single person every time to send you help, and he used to do that every time. But I thought that it's time for me to get my hands dirty and start learning something. That's when I used to search the internet about internship opportunities, just randomly internship opportunities at, let's say, Dell, or and different companies as to look for. And then I used to see that there are different posts like front-end development, back-end developer, or software engineer. Then there used to be data scientist, data analyst. And then I used to think that how do I get into that job? Then for me, deciding on a technical domain that I should follow was very difficult. Then I started learning Python, and then I just downloaded a Udemy course from torrent, and from there I started learning Python. And then I used to follow random YouTube channels, and I used to see what are the what are the projects that they are doing, and I used to replicate them. But that was very surface level, because I wasn't really creating anything on myself. And plus the college timing that we used to have, I used to come back home around 5:30 to 6 and be very tired. And as you know that we are following the age old type of learning, where we are doing handwritten assignments, and those were really hectic, and I really never got time, or let's say the energy, to focus on a particular skill. And that, in, let's say, that the second year was a start. Then I thought that only AI or only data science will not give me everything, and later I saw that everybody says that they're an ML enthusiast or a data science enthusiast, and all they have done is they have just gone through Andrew and this course. I think basically everybody has gone through that. And when you ask them simple Python question, that is, what are libraries, or if you ask that what is that underscore import underscore is supposed to do, nobody can answer that. Then I thought that instead of focusing on something in such a broader aspect, why don't I brush up my basic skills first and then move next? So I did that, and luckily, I would say, like eliminating the fact that COVID is causing such, taking a death toll and causing such havoc in the country. But the time when I was home, that really turned out a good thing for me. I got to know about developer communities, and especially the community that I'm a part of, that is Microsoft Student Ambassador Community, which was previously known as Microsoft Student Partners. So I enrolled for that in January 2020 and got accepted into the program. Then I got to know that the community that we have in college, it is very restricted to knowing people in our college. I did not know anybody in Delhi. I did not know anybody in Mumbai. I did not know it. Leave alone India. I don't even know people like in within West Bengal. And then I thought that why don't I just talk to people and increase my circle of knowing, and that's how I started. The first 2 months when there was no lockdown, even that time it went into a waste, and I did not really do anything for the community. And from March, when the lockdown started, I started using Teams and see what the community has to offer. Then I saw that there are enormous learning resources, like they'll give you free resources to skill upon Azure, to skill upon Power Platform. Power Platform, for those who follow me, you'll see that I keep speaking about that, and I have been doing that consistently for a year now. And that was only a particular session that I attended about by a principal program manager whose name is Dona Sarkar. For those who follow her on LinkedIn, you'll know that. If you search on her Google, you'll also find her. So she's a very famous personality and is known throughout the tech world, not just in Microsoft. And then she was really impressed by the fact that I started learning Power Platform and built a no-code app in just 24 hours. And that was when she told that, hey, I'm there to mentor you. And mentoring is different from what mentoring may understand. Nobody is going to spoon feed you. She never told me, hey, these are the courses that you should apply for. She just used to, she used to be there behind me and then support me, and whatever learning that I used to do, she used to really support me, and then applaud for whatever I was advancing. And that's how it all started. So it was in April when I started with Power Platform, and the backdrop about Power Platform is it is a low code or no code platform, and by that it doesn't mean that you have to code nothing. For example, if you're building an app, you need to code the button that you're placing, and in Power Platform you don't need to code the button. You just can drag it and put it there. But the behind whatever technology, or let's say whatever the uh, what's the term of that, whatever logic goes behind that, you need to code, and that's very simple in C sharp, or those who know about .NET. So these are the skills that we need for Power Platform generally. And then from April, I started, the public learning, which I just stated a few minutes back. I started doing that. Then I told that, hey, I'm a beginner here, and this is the app that I made, and I give a hashtag Power Platform. And people who were following that Power Platform hashtag, they started, following me, and then this is entire Power Platform community that started supporting that. Hey, being a beginner is a tremendous job that you have done. So why don't you go and study these resources and do more? So that is how the Twitter community is very supportive. People will hardly backlash at you. That's why I am pressuring on the fact that please use Twitter. And then that was just the beginning. Soon after that, I got a chance to speak at Microsoft Build. Those who don't know, please Google about that. That is a very huge scale event. If it was online, I would have been invited in Seattle, that is in USA. But since it was offline, I was back at home. And in that event, even Satya Nadella, he's a keynote speaker, and even I was asked to be a keynote speaker in that specific event. And when I saw that, hey, the people here, they are really supportive, they are liking my work. So that time you think that when people are there to support, why don't I do something out of my interest? And so after that, I started looking for resources. I skilled upon Microsoft Learn. For those who have seen that Microsoft had published 2 blogs on my name, specifically telling about how I skilled on Microsoft Learn. And then I got to know about Power Platform. I got to know about Azure. And in the meantime, I was not only restricted to Power Platform, I was also making sure that I am contributing to open source. I am, writing blogs, or I'm making videos, or I'm interacting with people. And that's how, whenever I got an opportunity, I made sure that if it's a technical event, I'm speaking there or I'm signing up for that as an attendee. And that's how I decided to expand my knowledge. And soon after that, what happens is when you start speaking in one event, two event, and post about that, and people start getting to know you, you start getting invites, because people who has been there with you since day one, they see that you have been, how you have been rising, how you have been learning. And that's how even communities like Progate, all those who know that Yashraj, who was a DevRel there, even like he, he was. We became great friends. And once this developer communities, they help you so much that people, even companies like Skillanza, and people, they get to know you in such a scale that the CEO or the DevRel or people who are in high positions, they start becoming your friend, and they say that, hi, we see that you're from Siliguri, so why don't you promote this in your college, or why don't you tell your college juniors to learn and upskill on that. So that's how your network increases. And that also brings you a lot of I would say they also brings you a lot of different opportunities. And before getting into Microsoft, I got into Capgemini, which was through college. And honestly speaking, when I was asked by the interviewer in Capgemini if Capgemini is my dream company, I said the truth to him, and I said that no, I really want to do something else. And soon after that, I also have some family problems, and I really cannot move out of my house until it's very necessary. So I wanted to resort to some offline opportunities. And that's when I came across sites like angel.co. So all those who are looking for opportunities, angel.co is the site to begin. Internshala was good, but I have been scammed by a few companies, so I don't really suggest you to go through Internshala. Please be active on LinkedIn, angel.co, and Twitter, and open source communities like those who know that GSOC, it is the new trending thing now. Then there is Outreachy as well. I got selected for Outreachy now, but since both of the things it is coinciding, I cannot contribute to Outreachy, so I chose Microsoft over that. Though it is a very nice opportunity, and there is you're from you're getting a chance to contribute in open source projects like Wikipedia, Wikimedia, and there are a lot of big communities like CNCF. So all those who are looking to get started, please also look for open source communities. There is CNCF, there is LFX, it's Linux Foundation, and like I said, Outreach is for people of the underrepresented community, and also majorly for women. So look at these things, look at the different internship opportunities, scholarship opportunities that these companies have to offer. And if you have a doubt in anything, just reach out to people, just search. Use your time and the internet pack very wisely. Search about the people, search about it in Google, and then reach out to them. And basically, when people, I used to do the public learning, and they got to know that this girl, she is doing Power Platform, and then she is building apps. She is participating in hackathon with it. Even in SIH, as you know, that we were the first team to win from SIT. Before that, SIT has been participating, and even in that time, almost 7 to 8 teams had participated, but only 2 teams went to the finale, and we won it. So even our one of our solutions was built in Power Platform, and I built that. So when I'm telling to people that, hey, I built in Power Platform and this is going to help Ministry of Power, people show interest, because there you're showing your depth in that technology. And soon after that, what happened was, when I started with Power Platform, I did not know that this tech stack will get me a job, because I used to see people doing different things. People, majorly in our college, the trending that time, it was machine learning. Everybody was doing machine learning and GCP and all those stuff. And I used to say, hey, I'm lagging behind and I might not get a job at all. And that's when I thought that this is something that I'm liking, so I'll go forward with it. And even for you all, if you're liking something, let's say if you're liking cloud, please stay in cloud. If you're liking web development, please stay in web development. If you're liking Android development, please stay there. Don't just listen to your friends who are telling that, hey, cloud has no, it has no opportunities for you. That's nothing like that. If you look for the job opportunities, you see that there is an equal opportunity in almost every tech domain, and tech is something that is advancing very quick. And one day you see that there are zero jobs, and next you see that there are 10 postings of the same particular tech stack. And this happened to me. I was also looking for opportunities in Power Platform, but I saw that there are none, or there are people who are looking for, experienced professionals who have worked with SharePoint, CRM development for 15 years, or at least more than 6 years. And I thought that, hey, as a fresher, I don't have any chance, and I should just drop off and focus on something else. Something inside me told that no, just do that, keep participating in hackathons. And after that I got to know about the GitHub Actions hackathon from dev.to, and I also won a runners up prize. This not only helps you brush up your tech skills, but also gives you some extra buffs, because those are things that are organized by USA, or let's say by the West, people in West, and they are paying you in dollars. So these opportunities which are offshore, they help you better in terms of learning, in terms of working culture, and in terms of earning as well. And soon after that, what happened was I started getting opportunities. I started getting pings from people that, hey, they want to set up a call with me. And then I started with Capgemini as an offer. And then I can even count, I'm not boasting of myself, but what I'm trying to say is that if you have the zeal in you to learn something, and if you are really liking what you're doing, there is no end to opportunities. And after Capgemini, that was from college, and I'm not counting that. After that, I got an opportunity from KPMG. I got an opportunity from a startup in UK, and I was going to start in that, but they have very stringent laws with respect to data, and being in India, I wasn't able to handle that. And till last month, which was till March, I was working in a startup company that was based out of USA. And to be honest, that in such startups, they have a very different culture. They have very flexible timings. I used to log on at, let's say, 10 a.m., and by 4 to 5 a.m. my work was done. And even at times, let's say, I used to work only for 3 days a week, but the learning that I used to have in that very short span was something very tremendous and bigger than what I could learn, or any YouTube video or any course could provide me. And also the perks that we all need. We want a good job because we want a good package. And even in the internship, the stipend that they provide is greater than the in-hand salary that you get in some companies, in big MNCs. So that is the thing. Then after that, I got offers from Wipro. Then there is two leading startups like Rapid Circle and De Facto. But at that time, I thought that, okay, this means that this skill is something that is growing in India. It's not a niche anymore. And if I can bring people more into that, and they were actually asking that, hey, if you know any people from India, why don't you suggest them? But I literally had nobody to suggest. And they told that we only came across your profile who was learning about Power Platform. From having zero job postings to having so many job postings. If you see companies like Nestle, even companies like Capgemini, then there is Wipro, and every big tech companies, they are now using Power Platform. So the opportunity, it becomes endless. And after that, I had made my mind that I am going to get into Microsoft. I don't know how. At the end of the day, I might even ask for referrals, but I had made my mind for that. And I did not get selected in the first chance. I had applied for numerous job postings, and the mail I used to get was, sorry, we cannot go forward. It was all rejection emails, almost 30 to 40 rejection emails, because I used to apply for almost every job postings. I used to even apply for Google and big companies, even though I thought that my skill isn't as good as compared to other people. But people used to say that, hey, you don't even have the skills, but why are you applying? Apply anyway. I'll give you a thing right now, that apply to get rejected. Rejection is something that might be demotivating as well as inspiring, because that, for someone as stubborn as me, tells me that they're rejecting me now, they should accept me after a year, or let's say after 5 to 6 months. And one fine day, Microsoft also hires in Techno India, but I don't know, I don't think that they hires in SIT. So they did not come here for campusing. But then, as I told that I was very active in LinkedIn and Twitter, so I came across these opportunities. And since I also made nice friends for people who know people like Khushbu Verma, then Aditya Oberoi, and they are like very good friends of mine. So they used to share me links and tell that this is something that you should apply for. And one such opportunity was Fixathon. It was basically a type of hackathon for the and people who like cross this hackathon, they'll get an internship into Microsoft as technical support engineer. So the entire process is started from December 30, 2020. Yeah, no, December 28 was the first exam. So the first phase was after I had a talk with the hiring manager, I got to know that they had 11,000 applications, and out of that, only 24 people they bagged an internship. So you can understand how fierce the competition was. So first thing was they will select you by your resume, and all those who are now you are struggling to have a resume, I'll tell you something. Please, have 2 to 3 different resume. For example, if you are applying for the job of a developer, see what are the skills that they want. Every job posting they say that they need experience in, let's say, Python, C, DSA, and all those things. Have those keywords in your resume, because in big companies nobody goes through your resume. They use the application tracker system, and that is mostly governed by AI. So they look for those keywords, and if you have them, then you're selected. Otherwise, no. And there are a lot of other things as well. For anybody who is more experienced than me, they can tell better. But also avoid using stars and bars to show how much you are skilled in a particular tech stack. Let's say you are writing that you know web development, and please don't put a bar and say that, hey, I know this much. Or please don't put ratings to say that you know 8 out of 10, or let's say 4 out of 10. Just jot down the tech skills that you know and keep it in a very simple format. It's a good way to show your tech skills. And in your achievement section, please avoid and put things like I was the I managed socials in my college, and do something. There are NCC activities, there are so many NGOs that you can be a part of. Be a part of them, use your time. And then there are so many hackathons that you can mentor, that you can be a part of. Give those in your achievements, give those in your, if you participate in a lot of hackathons, and when you get an experience in that, you can also win some of them. So do that. And that is how Fixathon, the entire process after resume selection, it I had a nice resume, thankfully. And then the next step was the exam part, which was a bit tricky for me, since I'm from EC background and I had no knowledge in operating system, I had no knowledge in networking, and I had fair enough knowledge in DSA. By that I mean that I am very bad at competitive programming. I can solve only beginner level programs, but I knew the basics. And so the first exam that we have, and since it's Microsoft, the exam was a bit difficult. So they had some logical reasoning, and then they had programs, then they had pseudocode. Some programs were mainly based out of DSA. That is, if you are trying to solve programs for graphs, trees, these are something that you need. And they had questions on OS and networking and many more things. It was a very lengthy, almost 2 hours test. And I was very sad after that. I thought that OS and networking did not go really well for me. And there was also cloud computing, a section on that. A bit of cloud knowledge was also checked. And luckily I had knowledge on cloud, so that helped me. And then we moved to the next round, where the Fixathon challenge began. And it was a 6-week long challenge. There we were interacting with Microsoft employees, with HR, with leading advocates, and they were also giving us trainings on OS, networking, Azure Active Directory. And soon after that, so 100 people were selected from the exam. And from this 100 people, after we were given 3 days of training, we had a break fix challenge. Break fix challenge is similar to your pair programming, where you are on call with a Microsoft employee. They give you a set of programs, or let's say a set of assessments, and they try to see how much you have learned in these 3 days. Then they gave me a set of programs. They asked me to, since the support engineer role, I'll have to know the bits and pieces of my operating system. So they had asked me to change the IP, and they had like a lot more things were there. They had asked me to set up an Azure Active Directory, then add people in that, and there were some tasks similar to that. It lasted for 1.5 hours, and they even asked you questions on the same. So from this break fix challenge, out of 100 people, 50 people made it to the next level, and I was one among them who made it to the next level. And before we made it to the next level, in between that, there were one-to-one sessions, and those were all a part of the evaluation. Like there were subject matter experts who were asking me things about what I know about certain things, and I still have this copy beside me where I had made notes on OS and networking, and I really had to study all this to get into Microsoft because that was the major tech skill that they needed for this role. And plus Azure, since I already knew Azure, that was an added benefit for me. So there were so many rounds, and after that, what they did was they split us in group of 5, and there were 10 groups, and they gave us a topic and told this is a topic that you need to give a solution on. And the solution not necessarily it should be a working solution. It can be a prototype, or it can be just you're suggesting your idea. And out of that, 5 people made it to the finale, and five teams made it to the finale, and 5 teams did not qualify. And our team did not qualify. Then the hiring team of Microsoft, they thought that, but even from the underqualifying team, there are people who, they showed great learning and great enthusiasm throughout the entire program. So why don't we give them an opportunity to sit for interview? So out of these 50 people, 1 people sat for the 39 people they sat for the interview, and rest 11 they did not get a chance to sit for the interview. And next we had 2 rounds of interview. First was the language screening, and second was the managerial round. And to tell you that interviews these days, then people don't just randomly ask you that, hey, tell me about trees and graphs in DSA. They first talk to you. They first ask, how are you doing? Tell me about yourself. This is a major question, and please try to prepare something on tell me about yourself, because majorly what people say is that, hi, I'm Haimantika Mitra, I'm a final year student from EC department, I'm a Siliguri Institute of Technology, and I'm applying for this role. So this is what I have to say about yourself. When you're introducing yourself, tell your name and the department, or let's say you tell them like, hi, I'm Haimantika Mitra and I'm majoring in electronics and communication. That's it. And then you say that I am skilled in this and this and this. I have been an active, active in developer communities. I have been, mentoring so many hackathons, been participating in that. So before really sitting for interviews, try and do this co-curricular activities, because they not only help you, get experience, but also let you have something in store to speak to the interviewer. And necessarily they'll ask you about your final year project. And once you say your final year project, that's where they start asking you questions upon. So they'll final year project, they won't say that what's your final year project. They'll say, have you worked on a project? So what is that? And I had an opportunity to speak about my SIH project, since that was a major one. So I spoke about that, and also about the hackathons where I built other projects. So I spoke about that, and since that was built by me and not copied from somewhere, and it was done by me, so I knew what are the skills that I am talking and what were the things that went behind. So in that way, the ball was in my court, and the interviewer, they had very little questions to confuse me on. And that's how the first round ended. And the second round, it was basically the managerial round where the HR, they ask you some questions. And then I'll tell you, there are people who are like, they are in some director level in Microsoft, and they ask you, they are very well furnished, or let's say well furbished people, and they know what you're trying to speak, how you're trying to influence them. So try to be yourself. Don't try to fake something or be someone that you are not. And if you're confident enough, and also in this language screening rounds, the way you speak, the grammatical mistakes, it also matters to some extent, because the role that we have, there we'll have to directly talk with customers, and if we are not quite good in communication, it will be it will be a little bit of problem for us. So finally, I cracked that, and soon after a few days, they gave me an offer, and now I'm interning here. It's been 1 week, and from tomorrow, the second week starts. So far, it has been really great. seeing the company, the office. I'm really sad that we are offline, but I love how the office looks, even in the photos. I want to go to the canteen so bad. I want to sit in the office so bad, and I'm missing a lot of opportunities. And one thing is that if you're in this role after 1 year, please pray that by 2020 COVID is gone, they'll take us to Las Vegas as well. So that is that is sponsored by Microsoft. The travel, stay, everything is sponsored by Microsoft. So in when once you're in such companies, when I see when they were introducing us to programs and the sports, the concert, give event where you are helping people. So this brings the joy, and this is what I was looking for, the exact culture that I wanted to work on. And also to add that product-based companies and startups, they have a very nice work culture compared to service-based companies. So that is something that you should aim for. Rest assured, if you are doing what you're liking, you'll definitely get what you love for. And that's how I would like to conclude. I have spoken enough. In case anybody wants to ask anything, please unmute yourself while I drink some water.
Any doubts, any questions, you can drop in the chat, or you can very kindly unmute yourself so that we can hear your voice.
Also try and ask it before the storm starts. The weather is getting really bad here. Does marks matter? Yes, in this particular role, they asked for 8 point and above. I'll tell you that why marks matter, because India, they have millions of engineers passing out every year, and they need one criteria to filter out these people. So first thing they do is marks, and then there are this competitive programming, the different types of events or the exams that they conduct. So to some extent, marks matters, at least 7.5. No, class 10 and 12 doesn't matter. At least in my role, they do not ask for it. But when I see the companies that come for campusing in SIT, they were asking for 10 and 12 marks. They were asking for 60% above and 70% above in your BTech. So if you're having 7.5 and above, especially in COVID, please, yeah, even I am giving 2 semesters and third one in COVID, so we all know that it's easy to score marks. So try and have nice marks. And for nice marks, we all know that you don't really need to study the entire, 6 months. Only 2 weeks before your exam starts is enough. Even when we had offline exams, that's how we did and scored good enough marks. Just encourage. Okay.
Okay, I would be asking a question on behalf of the first year and second year. I don't know why they are not asking that. Okay, we'll get to Shanta Paul. Just one thing,
Yeah.
that many are discovering as DSC is organizing and many clubs are organizing different events. So many are getting to know about like web development, Android, blockchain, different types of
Right.
technologies, and the languages are there. So they are maybe are getting over influenced. Like someone is starting web development, so he's saying that okay, app development is also there, so let's do app development. Okay, now
Right.
blockchain is also there, so let's do blockchain also. So how to for the especially for the first and second years, how to get away from that distractions and find your path, and just as you said, if you're doing web development, do it. If you're doing like
Yeah.
app development, do it. So how to just avoid the distraction?
I would say, Pratik, that it's a very nice question, because even I was there. So what I did was, even I had done ML, which was a very trendy thing, and then even I had tried my hands on React and to web development to some extent. So when you're doing something, let's say when I was doing ML, I was really enjoying it, but then I thought that only just knowing ML or only just having a BTech degree won't suffice. I'll need master's degree or more in-depth knowledge, and it's getting very theoretical for me, and I did not want to continue. So when you go to some extent, like that time, you'll really know that you're not really liking the thing that you are doing. Also, when please be informed about the different technologies. You master in one technology, but be informed about the different technologies. You know that, at least know that in React, these are the things that is to be done. In Django, these are the things to be done. If you see, also have an habit that instead of that going through one technology, please make a habit to see the code base of different things. That I used to do a lot. That is, suppose somebody has their own portfolio, I used to see the, like in GitHub they used to post that, and I used to see the code. If I used to see that, okay, the code, it looks, I am able to understand that, and it is seeming interesting to me, so why don't I go and try my hands on that? So you won't get that perfect thing in a, in one go. You need to try. After 2 to 3 trials, you'll finally fit in something, and that's how you start. What was Shanta asking? That is, whenever I try to code, I get errors and become nervous. Though I know the programming language and get frustrated. Does it happen with you also? Yeah, it happened to me a lot, and that's why I stopped competitive programming. I got that gold star in hacker rank, and after that, I thought that that is too much for my mental health, and I'm not doing. And please don't make getting the job your last and the most important priority of your life. Please take care of your mental health as well, and these are the things that will come to your life. Give, set time to something. And let's say if you want to get skilled in competitive programming, because if you see in most of the companies, most of the product companies, they have competitive programming, and that is one reason. Please blame it upon the population of India and the population of engineers, because that is something that they need to filter. The first process needs to be hard so that they get the best, because no company, they have a lot of vacancies. They'll take only 10 to 20 people at the most. And even like in our internship, they took 24 people, but there are so many clusters that Microsoft have, and only 5 to 6, like there are 10 to 12 clusters, or even more than a 2 to 3 people will go in each clusters. So, Shanta, I would say you that give 2 to 3 hours per day for coding, and whatever errors you get, copy that. If you're using VS Code, you can easily copy. I prefer VS Code. So just copy that and give that in Google. We have Stack Overflow. We have a lot of documentation. And even if you don't have the answer to your query, please post that query, and somebody or the other from the developer community will come up and try to help you. Yes, there's no way to stop your frustration, but what I would say is don't overstress yourself. Take it slow, because if you're, what I just said, if you're giving 2 to 3 hours every day for a year, and that's what I did in 2020, I'm sure you'll get skilled enough. And once you do that, you start day one with solving no problems. Till day, maybe till 10, you cannot solve any problems. From day 15 to 20, you'll start solving 2 to 3 problems, and that's how you advance. Anushka asked that what language do you prefer for competitive programming? See, I am majorly skilled in Python, so I do that. But I would say that competitive programming, they have a lot of things to consider. That is, they have the efficiency of your code in terms of time and space. Like you all know, the different types of things that they are considering. So C++ is a good language to start, and even Java. Python is there, but when it comes to speed and space and a lot of other factors that are considered in competitive programming, there are some cons to Python. So Java or C++ is a good way. Falguni asks that what was your experience when you took your first session? I think I took my first session offline or online. Offline was fine for me, but online it was very weird, because I used to talk alone to the screen, and I have nobody to look at except the computer, and very few people, they turn on the video. So first one was very, it was very weird for me. But the first session, it was by the Microsoft Student Ambassador community, and so they are very supportive, and at least 40 to 50 people were there. They were very much engaging in the chat. I did not feel left out. But yeah, what happens to me, and it happened in even as big events as Start Dev Change. So these are international events that I spoke in. I also spoke in quite some international events. That time there was no current, or my Wi-Fi isn't working, or when I'm doing a live demo, the something or the other crashes, where but I know that this demo is supposed to work. So yeah, it's a mixed feeling, Falguni. Pranab asked what to do, Java or Python after doing C. That totally depends on what you're liking. I don't like Java. I really don't like Java. To me, like even in my school life when I had Java, I thought that is too much to write. That's why I don't like Java. So you might like Java. A lot of people in my class, they like Java. They love Java. So if you love Java, or if you try at least, try it with the language, and if you see that you're liking Java, go ahead with that. If you like Python, go ahead with that. Python, one thing that I'll say why it is so common, especially among students, because it has, less. It's more like English language. It's easier to understand that way. Then with few lines of code, you can do very nice things, like you can make some games. You can do a lot of things with, especially with OpenCV and other things. That's why Python is so common. But for competitive programming, generally people don't prefer Java, sorry, Python. They do with Java or C++. Anushka, I started with HackerRank and some at LeetCode, but then I thought that this is not my cup of tea. And I think it's also very important for all of us to understand if something is not our cup of tea, I just dropped it. It was becoming very frustrating for me. I thought that not everybody needs to get skilled in computer programming to get a job. That's why I stopped it and I started getting skilled in something else. And mostly, Anushka, I would say that only competitive programming is not should not be your focus. You should also do your projects on production level. I had more hands-on knowledge on production level because the projects that I did, that I was building APIs. People, they are very good at competitive programming, but they don't know how to build an API, for example, or they they don't know how to use Git. They don't even know about GitHub. There are many people who know about computer programming. They're using the platforms, but they don't know how to take things into production. But I had that thing, that I had projects in production level and experience in that as well, so that was helped me have an ace over it. How you make yourself motivated and stay constant? um, I Speaking about me personally, there are days when I don't really want to get up from my bed. Anxiety and something, as you like to call it, we all have it and it's quite natural. But one thing I would say, that if you're not feeling well, take enough breaks, and at some point it will come to your mind that I'm just wasting my time and I need to do something. And that's, the consciousness, it comes within yourself, and once it comes within yourself, you'll definitely do it. And beginning from my school years, I never forced myself to do anything, and that really gave me a nice result. So if you're not wanting to upskill today, don't do it. But once you start doing it, make sure that you're giving at least 1 hour. 1 hour, I think we can all take out from our timetable. If you do 1 hour every day for 365 days, it will give you nice result. I think we are at the end of the questions in chat, at least.
Okay, so anyone with your doubts or any questions, so you can directly point it to the.
Also, one thing I would say, that make a habit. I know since we're in college, we won't get that, but by calling by the first name, because every time, well, like even in our trainings, we're asked to call even people who are in the industry for 15, 20 years. We're asked to call them by the first name. Yeah, Shantani, yeah, I did not know coding, so that's what I was talking about. I did not Firstly, I did not really want to do engineering, and I mentioned it twice now. So I thought that since I'm already in this field, I need to do something, and this is the consciousness that I was talking about. This came from within, and then I thought I knew the art of googling. I used to Google, okay, what are the skills that are in demand? Then I used to scroll through them, and suppose I used to go through them for 2 to 3 weeks, and if I'm liking something, I'll continue with that. If not, I leave it. And once you make it a habit to do this is like the regular study that we used to do early in our school days, that every evening we used to sit down with the book, and later on it became a habit that if in the evening we are not studying, then something is missing from our life. So make sure you're doing the same thing with upskilling. Give at least 1 hour or 2 hours. The more hours you invest, the better the outcome is. But do what is comfortable for you, and do it every day. And that's how, it has been a very nice learning curve for me. And especially the third year, that is the last year, it has been beneficial for me because I was back home and I had nothing to do. And at that time, I used to have 2 to 3 sessions per day, almost every day. And now I'm even now that I'll be having 8 to 9 years of work, I'm making sure that every weekend I'm speaking in some events. In that way, now when I'm posting about that, hey, I'm speaking in this event, the circle it keeps increasing. So you know that do something every day and please don't leave that after you get to your destined goal. Like even now that I have got a job, it doesn't mean that I will stop being into hackathons or I'll stop learning something else. Just because I was learning Power that doesn't mean that I won't learn DevOps. So this is something that I got into my habit, and that's how the learning curve has been. I hope Shantini have been able to answer your question. See, everybody they have their different success stories. I have a friend of mine who is who did GSOC last year and is as in the same year as Pratim. So he's a year junior to me, and now is working as a CNCF intern. He has also been into MLH hacks. MLH, those who know about, they give MLH fellowship, and also I'm telling you, please search for GitHub externship. GitHub externship is for second and third year or third year mostly. So these are certain things these big companies have. They are this open source programs. Open source programs, they give an enormous opportunity to work in production level that I was just talking about. Plus they pay you a lot. You work for 2 to 3 months and in Indian currency you get at least 1.5 lakhs within 2 to 3 months. So you know that the pay scale is also nice, the learning experience is also nice. And like I told about outreachy, if I was not interning at Microsoft, I would have definitely give it a try because there are people who after outreachy they went for masters in in University of Pennsylvania and different big universities, and they have got opportunities in startup companies that are based in USA or UK. So these are certain things that will definitely help you. Also follow influential people in the way, like people who are very active in the tech domain and people who you see with the job like developer advocate or devrel, like Yashraj is one, Yashovardhan is one, or Kuduti is one. I'll just write the names. Yashovardhan is from MLH Hacks. Yashraj was at Proget in as now as OutSystems. Orkuduti Shah was at Microsoft and is now in GitHub. And then there is Vivek Sridhar. So there are a lot of these people who you should follow. They post a lot of different opportunities. And also have a nice, please have a nice resume because even I get asked people asked me, like there was an opportunity by Hacker Earth where they were asking for community managers, but since I was not introduced to any of you, I did not know your skills, I had to let that go, and a different person he got that. So have nice resume ready, so in case I get information about any such opportunity, so that I can give it to you people. Anything else, or are we done for the day?
Okay, even if you have any questions, I would make a task for you, every one of you here. So as Haimantika already spoke about asking referrals, of the method of asking referrals. So what you can do after this event, you can just message her on LinkedIn in a professional way and just give her a connection request so that you are also opening up to someone. And if you have any doubt apart from the session also, you can ask. And obviously she replies. I have tried myself. So
Yeah.
yes. So yes, so if anyone no more further questions, then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I
And
think.
and you all can just write in the chats or you just unmute yourself that how did you like the session? What was your takeaway from it? So the chat section is open. It's all yours.
I think we are done, and I'm really thankful to everyone who joined. I hope that I could tell something that has helped you. I know it was a lot of information, but I was really excited to speak. And maybe if someday we have offline sessions, I can speak to you guys better. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you. So stay in team because we'll be conducting sessions because that was a break for the semester, and now we'll be again in progress. So as you can see, all the comments.
Yeah, I'm really glad that I'm speaking to my college students for the first time, and it's a nice response. Thank you to DSC Society, DSC, the entire committee, and even to you, Pratim, for being here, and everyone for being here on a Sunday. So I'm really glad. Also, be sure that you are signing up for Twitter and being active in Twitter as well, not just LinkedIn. That's it, I think.
Yes. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Bye.